Good evening, viewers of human rights channels. Yesterday, I listened with rapt attention to the address delivered by our president, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. I was all along the delivery of the address, waiting for the news of renewed hope, but ended up hearing all we have had all these 25 years of the so-called democratic rule. Democracy is a government by the people, for the people, through a transparent, open, and fair election. Anything short of that is another system of government, though not by the military. It could be called a civil rule. It could be called a government by those who are not by civilians, but definitely not democracy. For the 25 years from 1999 election, which brought President Olusegun Obasanjo and ushered in the beginning of this so-called democratic dispensation, the comparison of the elections have been which of the election was most rigged, and not which of them has been the most transparent, fair, or open. For none has any resemblance of credible election. It has been the election of who is mightier, who has more money, who is more in control of thoughts, who controls the police. That is why all the elections, at every election, the Inspector General of Police must be in an acting capacity so that he plays a good ball role during the election to assure his confirmation. After the election, to assure that he will not be removed. In 2003, we advanced to the level of calling in the military and using them in conduct of the election. And ever since then, it has become a coup d'etat. Every 4 years, we will have a coup d'etat by civilians, using every level of force and application of all types of arms and ammunition to capture and retain power. Even most of these so-called democratic process of election, which I prefer to call democratic coup d'etat, have witnessed more bloodshed than most military coups we have had in this country. But none of these democratic coup d'etats since 1999 have not witnessed bloodshed of several innocent citizens of this great country with destruction of properties. The political actors, the political actors have realized this, that the process of capturing power is survival of the fittest. So they amass wealth by every means so that they have sufficient money to acquire arms and ammunition, control state means of coercion, and arm their thugs to be better. At the end, they capture the returning officer who announced them as winners under gunpoint. Since 1999, for 25 years, instead of the system getting better, it kept going bad. It kept going worse. Instead of the leaders becoming humble servants of common good, they are championing selfish, narrow interests of the mighty, which the mighty constitutes less than 2% of the population. But they control the resources. They apply the resources anyhow they want. They do it they are not in want, in spite of the fact that the masses are suffering and dying of hunger. For instance, the money that would have been sufficient to construct a refinery was used to build a house for just one citizen. This type of thing taking place in a situation of want, in a situation of famine, in a situation where the economy is in a terrible mess, where the citizens cannot afford one square meal, where many of the citizens are sleeping outside. Within these 25 years of the so-called democratic rule, there has been a total indifference to the plight of the masses, to the good of generality of the people. What matters is what is good for these 2% population. That cannot be democracy. This indifference and uncaring attitude to the plight of the majority of the people is not peculiar to this government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But then, as a core Democrat, we expected a different. We expected a change. But it has become a system where people in government do not care about the plight of the majority, but care and attention are given to selfish aggrandizement and narrow interest of the mighty. For instance, leaders of organized labor are only demanding, though they are entitled to pay rise. But then it is expected that they will pay more attention on broader solutions, issues, and matters like construction of modular refineries. Refineries that will refine our fuel here, create employment, improve railway system, would have made transportation cheaper and affect the generality or greater percentage of the populace. But they are only much interested in this. The National Assembly is only verbally interested in care and attention to the people. But they are more interested, much more interested in outrageous pay, exploitative salaries, and outrageous car and accommodation allowances. They are doing that for the reason that this democracy, they will need to amass wealth because the people will demand money from them to be voted for. They have to pay the armed tax. They have to maintain the state law enforcement agents, and electoral officers have to be settled before they will announce them as winners. So these are the real anti-democratic forces, and not those people who are pointing them out or who are criticizing them or who are saying that this is not democracy. These are not democratic factors. So when our president was talking about those who are making effort, among us to exploit the current challenges to undermine or destroy this democracy. In the first instance, there is no democracy to be destroyed. But then, assuming without conceding that there is democracy to be destroyed, the major enemies of democracy are these 2%. They are these 2% who are doing things that are not democratic, who are engaging in acts capable of impoverishing the masses. When the masses are impoverished to the extent that they can't feed themselves, their life becomes at stake. And when life of any person is at stake, the next thing is to do everything to save his life. And that is why the popular statement that those who make democratic change impossible make room and create a path for undemocratic change. Change.